morning, College Park Church. Jeff Briggs here. Today I want to talk to you about budgeting and planning your budget for your departments. I've been working a great deal lately on our financials, and I wanted to really help you kind of forecast and plan your department budgets for the 21-22 year. I've created a spreadsheet for you here, and in a few minutes we'll zone in on it. And I want to kind of show you how to plan and fill in the data and kind of think through your budgeting process. But before we get there, let's think about the word budget for a minute and ask ourselves, what is a budget? A budget is a strategic plan of spending. A budget which needs to be approved by a higher authority. In our case, the finance and stewardship team approved the budget for our church, which is the strategic plan for spending for all departments across the church, both those that are static and those that are organic, even new departments. Events, all that's covered in there. Utilities, fixed costs, all of those things are built into a budget which is then approved by our church's higher authority, which is the finance and stewardship team. Let's go back to budget though. It's the strategic plan for the church. So the overall church has a mission, a vision, a goal, and objective, and the finance and stewardship team, kind of your eldership team, they put that together and manage that and oversee that on a regular basis. Within that, as you pare down into the micro, each of your individual departments has a key role to play as you are given a budget which you've submitted and had approved, maybe some adjustments in there, but you've had it approved. Work within that to meet the greater needs and the vision, the goals and objectives of the overall church. So our universal strategic plan is to approve a budget where the church can operate over the next 12 months. We call it zero-based budgeting, with the hope that we will operate well enough to be cash flow positive or have what's called a surplus, so that we can build into the future projects, programs, or hires for the church itself. Going back to budget though, our budget is a strategic plan. When the budget is approved, we must adhere to the plan. When a budget is approved, it tells us this is what we are supposed to do and the limits we're supposed to operate within. Now, understanding that gives you great latitude now as you plan your budget and plan to submit a budget for your department. Now is the time, now is the chance for you to think through all the things you have planned to do in the next calendar year, I should say, fiscal year. We operate July 1 through the end of June. It's the chance and the time to plan all those things you want to do, the events, the festivities, the micro groups, all the different things, both in service and out of service, on campus and off campus. And the spending for that in particular, and the planning for that, and the dates and the allocation of all that, the forethought, has to be built into your department budget. So in some regards, you, the department head, must think through what will my next 12 months look like, starting July 1, this coming July, and going through the end of June 2022. Now I know we've already done a master plan for the church in regards to a calendar of events and a calendar of activities. So that's a great place to start. Take the events and the activities that you've already got on the calendar for the next 12 to 18 months and begin to budget those, begin to plan for the spending of those, both revenue and expenditures. In the end, and I'm more than happy to sit down and meet with you and work through matters, in the end, your budget is your strategic plan for your department or departments. It does restrict you in what you can and can't do. We basically approve what is proposed with some latitude and flexibility. There are times we have to make adjustments to budget because we have to take into consideration all the departments in the church and the overall mission, vision, and goals and objectives. But in the end, your budgeting process is your vision casting for your department or departments as we move forward. Now, I've sent this spreadsheet out, or I should say Terry sent it out a couple of weeks ago. I want to go back and look at it for a minute and just show you a couple examples. So in this department spreadsheet I sent you, there were a couple of categories here, and the first one is the revenue category. Now that's probably the easier one of the two. And let's look at that for a minute, because you will only have revenue if you have fundraisers or if you sell something. Since most of the departments do not sell anything, we'll just look at it from a fundraiser perspective. If, for example, you know you have a fundraiser in September, let's October. Let's do the bingo for October. We would list bingo here underneath October. And if you anticipate you're going to raise $1,200 in revenue from all the sales of bingo, you would put the dollar figure in there, $1,200, and the name bingo under there. Now let's say, for example, in the month of March, you plan to have a dance-a-thon. Dance-a-thon. And, whoops, I put that in the wrong place, didn't I? See, even I make mistakes. I am human. Dance-a-thon. We would put the name of the dance-a-thon there, and if you anticipate raising $3,000, or it is your plan to raise $3,000 for the dance-a-thon, you would place